Excellencies and military commanders pay a visit to the sites of the Joint Effort 10 exercise. Workshops continue to specify the approaches and strategic goals of Oman Future Vision 2040. And Omani-Jordanian session of talks discusses aspects of cooperation in the fields of education, health and shura work. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to Her Excellency Dr. Amina Gurib Faqim, President of Mauritius, on her country's National Day. His Majesty the Sultan also sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Armen Sarkisyan of Armenia on him being elected as a new President of the Republic. This morning, a number of their excellencies and military commanders paid a visit to the sites of Command Center's Exercise Joint Effort 10, currently being implemented by the Sultanate with the participation of a number of military, security and civil sectors. The activities of the exercise started in the 25th of last February. At the beginning, the Chief of Staff of Sultan's Armed Forces, head of the exercise, welcomed their excellencies and commanders and briefed them about the exercise and its significance as a preface to the national exercise Ash-Shumukh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercise. All the participating sectors proved their capabilities to implement the exercise within the framework of a national, unified and integrated system and enhance the national gains based on previous expertise. After that, their excellencies and military commanders paid a visit to a number of exercise control cells, during which they were briefed about the tasks and duties in addition to their role in progress of the exercise. Meanwhile, in the joint command of the exercise, their excellencies and commanders were briefed by the commander of the Royal Army of Oman about tasks, roles and duties of the joint command, after which they toured the aerial and naval forces commands participating in the exercise and got acquainted to works of divisions of these two commands in the exercise, along with their tasks and roles. His Excellency James Mattis, Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, arrived in the Sultanate this afternoon on an official several days visit to the country. During the visit, he will meet a number of officials in the Sultanate to discuss aspects of military cooperation between both countries. 15 points that represent the national priority of the Sultanate were taken into consideration during the preparation of the Oman Future Vision 2040, as workshops continue to specify the approaches for topics related to human society, economy, development, governance, and institutional performance. More details in the following report, read by Sulaiman Al-Bahri.
The country stresses on the significance of the human resources in the success of the 2040 vision, as well as to put the Sultanate in line with the global changes. The governance and institutional performance of Oman Future Vision 2040 focuses on the existence of an active judicial, monitoring and legislative system that will keep up with the Sultanate's approaches for the upcoming 20 years.
The Oman Vision 2040 process takes into consideration or examines the interdependence of economic, social and political variables in Oman with global drivers of change through scenarios. The vision takes into consideration the main or the available infrastructure, demographic growth and the aspirations of the Omani people for a better future. As an overview of the Omani Vision 2040 process, it aims to serve as a bridge between the present and the future. It also took into consideration the different key issues facing the Sultanate, such as people in society, economy, or under the main three themes, which are people in society, economy and development, and governance and institutional performance.
The discussions also focused on current situation, global expertise, aspirations of the Omani society, in addition to involving various bodies in the process.
So we're involved in a 3-day workshop in part of the vision to look at 3 main themes, which is economy, people in society, and governance. And looking at these three main themes, 150 of us have been brought together, technical people supplemented by international and local consultants, to come up with some key solid objectives to move to the next steps, so that a wider participation in Oman, where the public will further be involved in a focused manner to achieve a Vision 2040 for the Sultanate of Oman that all of Omanis are involved in.
Regarding human and society topics, 67% denied economical development on the expense of environment, identity, or heritage, and 56% believe that providing decent life is the topic that is under the attention of the youth category. On the other hand, in terms of economy and development, 44% expected that the best future jobs are represented in entrepreneurship.
His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfouz Al-Mandhari, Chairman of the State Council, discussed with His Excellency Naif Al-Hadid, Head of the Jordanian-Omani Friendship Committee, matters of mutual cooperation between the State Council and the Jordanian Senate. The two parties reviewed areas of cooperation in economic, commercial and parliamentary fields, highlighting the importance of exchanging visits and expertise in parliamentary areas to develop the mechanisms in the two councils. The Joint Friendship Committee between the State Council and the Jordanian Senate conducted an official meeting discussing bilateral cooperation in the fields of education, health and investment. Both parties highlighted the strong ties between the Sultanate of Oman and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan and the importance of expanding and maintaining the ongoing cooperation. Still to come in our news bulletin. More tourists are visiting Portugal now, which brings in more jobs and revenue. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al Ma'wali, Chairman of the Shura Council, discussed with His Excellency Marko Mikkelsen, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Estonian Parliament, the importance of cooperation between the two councils and exchanging visits and expertise in various fields. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, discussed with His Excellency Marko Mikkelsen, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Estonian Parliament, ways of developing bilateral relations between the Sultanate and the Republic of Estonia. They also reviewed a number of regional and international topics that concern the two friendly countries. The Sultanate joins the Arab countries to celebrate the Arab Library Day, which falls on the 10th of March every year. The National Center for Statistics and Information revealed that the number of libraries in the Sultanate for the year 2017 reached 97 public and local libraries. The number of books in those libraries reached more than 128,000 titles. Meanwhile, the Simbad Mobile Library, with its stores in various governorates of the Sultanate, works on delivering a noble message, instilling the love of reading in children's hearts and minds. It is considered one of the initiatives of a royal newspaper aiming to provide reading sessions for children and young school students to develop their skills and knowledge. The Royal Oman Police arrested 247 violators in the Wilaya of Boshor on various accounts of illegal entry to the Sultanate, violations of labor and foreign residency laws, fraud and human trafficking offences. The Royal Oman Police said that offenders are from various Asian and African countries, including 199 females and 40 male offenders who were arrested due to the joint effort of the Directorate General of Muscat Criminal Investigation and Inquiries, the Directorate of Crime Control, Boshor Police Station, the Police Special Forces, with cooperation from the Ministry of Manpower and Bosher municipality. Muscat Securities Market MSM today lost 23.7 points, comprising a decline by 0.48% to close at 4,906 points compared to the last session, which stood at 4,929 points. The trading value today stood at 2.2 million Omani Riyals, comprising a decline by 20.9% compared to the last session, which stood at 2.8 million Omani Riyals. The report released by MSM pointed out that the market value fell by 0.2% to reach about 17.9 billion Omani Riyals. The report added that the value of shares bought by non-Omani investors reached 294,000 Riyals, comprising 13.13%. The value of shares sold by non-Omani investors reached 130,000 Riyals, comprising 5.8%. The net non-Omani investment rose by 7.34% to 164,000 Omani Riyals. A resident of West Mosul went back earlier this week to find that her house had been entirely destroyed, along with most other houses in the Maidan district, where the Daesh group militants had made their last stand 8 months ago. She went with a police officer from the governorate who collects claims for compensation. There are only three such officials for Mosul, despite the staggering amount of damage the city suffered in the fighting last year and the year before. In another area of Mosul's old city, Al-Mushahada, some 250 families have returned, a small fraction of the total population. There is some minor reconstruction going on, mainly people trying to fix their houses with their own money or hands. There is no piped water, only a truck that delivers it daily or almost daily. They have a solar-powered torch to provide light in the evenings. During a lightning charge in June 2014, Daesh fighters took over Iraq's second-largest city, Mosul, and nearly a third of the country, plunging it into the most severe crisis since the US-led invasion in 2003. Mosul was liberated last July. India and France co-hosted the first International Solar Alliance ISA summit in New Delhi today, calling for affordable solar technology and concessional finance for promoting solar energy. Hailing the Solar Mamas, a group of women trained as solar engineers, French President Emmanuel Macron said they had continued their mission to promote solar energy even after some countries decided just to leave the floor and leave the Paris Agreement. In June, President Donald Trump announced that the US was withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, a pact that aimed to slow the rise in global temperatures by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the alliance will help achieve greater global energy security and push the fight against climate change and pollution. ISA is a treaty-based international body for the promotion of solar energy in alliance with 121 countries, which are fully or partially between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. The day-long summit will discuss framing regulations and standards, credit mechanisms, crowdfunding, and sharing of technological breakthroughs to promote solar energy in 121 countries associated with ISA.
तो मुझे विश्वास है कि निजी दायरों से बाहर निकलकर एक परिवार की तरह.
Residents in northern Queensland are surveying the damage to their homes after days of heavy rain. In the town of Ingham, 1,400 kilometers north of Brisbane, residents are also having to deal with other threats. One man claimed to have seen a baby crocodile floating through the submerged streets. An emergency worker said he'd heard a bull shark was spotted in town and advised people to keep out of the water. Emergency workers have been using boats and helicopters to deliver necessities, including food and medicine, to those who have been stranded. Meanwhile, other residents were returning to homes that are still under a meter more of water. Portugal was named the world's top destination in the most recent World Travel Awards, and the government is looking to spur investment in this key sector. A new scheme is now seeing abandoned heritage sites being turned into hotels, with backing from the private sector. More details in the following report.
The selfie sticks are out in force here in Óbidos, an hour outside Lisbon. In fact, 2017 saw Portugal welcome more tourists than ever before, 20 million of them, bringing in over 14 billion euros and creating over 50,000 new jobs. The surge in visitors means hotels like this one, the Pousada Óbidos Castle, are expanding.
Portugal is the place to be right now. It's been named the world's best destination, and that's down to the work that's been made by official organisations, by the Portuguese people and by hotel groups.
With tourism now accounting for 12.5% of the country's GDP, it's a key priority for the government. They've launched a new scheme called Revive, which will see private companies step in to renovate abandoned historic sites in tourist hotspots.
Heritage remains in the hands of the state, but we grant concessions that vary between 30 and 50 years. In exchange, the state demands investment, renovation of these buildings and the payment of rent to recover funds so that we can reinvest this money in restoring other assets.
Here in Elvas, near the Spanish border, work is already underway. This abandoned former convent is being restored and turned into a hotel at a cost of 5 million euros.
I think a country that doesn't maintain its heritage is a country without soul, without life. It's therefore an obligation to renovate. And of course, it makes excellent business sense.
So far, 33 buildings have been selected for renovation under the public-private partnership. Tourism professionals are hoping that, with the help of schemes like this, Portugal's record visitor numbers will only keep going up.
Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of South Sharqiya, Dhofar and Wusta. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate, while seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. A number of their excellencies and military commanders pay a visit to the sites of the Joint Effort 10 exercise. Workshops continue to specify the approaches and strategic goals of Oman Future Vision 2040. And Omani-Jordanian session of talks discusses the aspects of cooperation in the fields of education, health and shura work. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.